In late July 2024, a social worker's report is uploaded to gossip site Kiwi Farms. The report concerns an assault committed against a child by a man named Jessie. As it so happens, Jessie is the former partner of foodie beauty reactor Yaba, the YouTube underground, as well as the father of her children, none of whom are cited in the report. Jessie dies roughly 3 days following the assault, most likely death through misadventure. There has since been a lot of misinformation regarding the event and the fallout therefrom. This video is intended as corrective. Due to the sensitive nature of this topic, there will be no levity. A serious topic demands a serious approach. So let's begin with the week of Jessie's death. In a January 2024 livestream, Yaba reflects on the period immediately preceding Jessie's death.
I wanted to get a big dining room table for us all to have our holidays at. Because I assumed, well, I didn't assume, I knew we were going to start having our holidays together. Our Thanksgiving, our Christmases.
Thus far, we seem to have two households working together for the benefit of their children. There is, however, the question of whether Jessie's home is a stable one. Per his obituary, Jessie begins dating his partner, Gina, in February 2022. At some point soon after, he moves in with her and her young children. At the same time, Gina is coping with an ex of her own, that is, the father of her young children, who has severe mental health issues. Around 2 months after Jessie and Gina begin dating, a protection order is filed against this ex, whom Samantha later terms Saint Nicholas. In mid-October 2022, roughly a year before Jessie's death, the ex breaks the protection order, which Samantha later discusses.
St. Nicholas is the kind of guy who cares so much about his children that he literally will drive his car right through the house where he knows those children are sleeping.
As a result, the ex, Nicholas, is charged with 3 felonies and 2 misdemeanors. He is, of course, charged with violating the protection order. He is charged for criminal recklessness with a deadly weapon, presumably his car. He is charged with breaking and entering. He is charged for damaging the property in the commission of a crime. And he is charged for leaving the scene of an accident. Yaba and Samantha later confirm there were additional persons in the home, apart from Jessie and his new family.
One night, he decided to drive his car through the walkout basement garage portion of Gina's house while the girls were actually, all of the kids were there.
All of my kids were there too.
Ours.
Yeah, everybody was there.
For whatever reason, Nicholas is never charged for having endangered the lives of anyone in the home. Rather, he remains free on bond, with the trial delayed for nearly a year, in part due to the state attempting to restore his competency. So as the last week of Jessie's life begins, we have a situation with at least one unstable man who has access to 5 very vulnerable children. On Friday, September 22nd, 2023, Yaba and Samantha's weekend kicks off as usual.
The timeline was the kids went to his house, to Gina's and Jessie's house Friday, like they always did. Sunday, they were dropped off, like they always were.
Back at our house.
The first rumor I want to dispel is that Yaba continued sending her children to Jessie's house after learning what he did. This is not true. As we shall see, it would be impossible for her to do so. There are, however, other reasons for caution. There is, for instance, the presence of a mentally unstable ex, whose volatile behavior is exacerbated by substance abuse. In April 2023, around 6 months after allegedly driving his car through Gina's basement, Nicholas is arrested for possession of methamphetamine and paraphernalia. Jessie, too, has a history of substance abuse, which Yaba has discussed candidly.
And he struggled with that addiction, and he battled, and I watched that motherfucker battle. From fucking, methadone clinics, Suboxone, just going cold turkey, dedicating his life to fucking fitness, working out.
In the period preceding his death, however, Yaba believed he'd turned a corner.
He was clean, he was sober, we were co-parenting.
Yaba's perception is worth contrasting with a statement made by Gina to police the night of Jessie's death.
You know all that stuff all over him? All those...
I haven't seen him.
Well, just so you know, all those scrapes and all that, he does, when he goes on a meth binge, he does that to himself.
So there is the troubling question of whether Gina is describing Jessie prior to their relationship, or if he was continuing to use methamphetamines while they dated. Furthermore, there is the problem of the two men in Gina's life, each of whom is deeply troubled and struggling with addiction. The following day, Saturday, September 23rd, Samantha announces her and Yaba's engagement on Twitter, and the children are returned to their home on Sunday. Sometime in the night, likely early Monday, Gina discovers Jessie in her child's bed and orders him from the house. Jessie may have left armed. Speaking with an officer after his death, Gina insinuates Jessie took her gun, while leaving his behind.
I didn't know where mine was, right? But then I found the case. Anyways, whatever. It's gone.
It's unclear why Jessie has a gun in the first place. While Yaba has claimed that Jessie was not a felon, Jessie was arrested in December 2000 for a probation violation related to a felony. In November 2021, just a few months before meeting Gina, Jessie is arrested, charged, and sentenced for possession of a handgun by a felon. In the months following Jessie's death, however, Yaba seems more blasé about a partner's legal history.
Are you telling me that there ain't no bitches in here right now married to a motherfucking man or has a boyfriend that's got a couple felonies? I mean, great. Congratulations, you know?
After evicting Jessie, Gina takes her daughter to the hospital for treatment and reports the assault to a social worker. Shortly before Yaba is to go live, Gina calls her.
I was downstairs in my basement about to go live. I get this phone call from Gina, and at that time, we did not know details. She did not know the details. She's telling me this Monday morning.
After the call, Yaba goes live as planned, apologizing repeatedly throughout the stream for her tardiness.
I know, Miss Ann. I know I was late, but there's lots of reasons why I was late, and I got to take care of all those reasons now. It's a whole thing. It's a lot, okay?
Samantha later claims that Yaba filed for a protection order as soon as they were, quote, notified of the allegations. That the order was granted that same day. And that this order must have been issued on Monday, due to the timing of Jessie's death. As evidenced by Yaba's going live, clearly they did not pursue a protection order immediately following Gina's call. Samantha does, however, repeat this claim during the days and weeks following the release of the social worker's report.
When Gina called us that Monday morning at like 8 o'clock in the morning, we filed for the EPO. We filed for the restraining order within the hour of that phone call ending. We filed that restraining order, and it was granted before the end of the day.
Again, Yaba's testimony is inconsistent with Samantha's. In fact, as we shall see shortly, Samantha is lying about their receiving a protection order on Monday. I have wondered why Yaba went live, given the gravity of the situation and its implications for the safety of her own family. Given the number of super chats congratulating Yaba and Samantha on their engagement, I suspect Monday's stream was too potentially lucrative to pass up. The next day, Tuesday, September 26th, Yaba allegedly messages Jessie and wishes him a painful death. Were the claim of their having received an EPO on Monday true, this presents an interesting situation. That is, Yaba is communicating with someone whom she has claimed in court is a threat to her family's safety. As Samantha later explains, the situation is even more fraught.
During this time, we don't know where he is.
As we heard in Gina's conversation with law enforcement, Jessie may be armed. And as Yaba tells Jessie's mother, during a fight over his remains, he is strung out on crystal methamphetamine. So Yaba is goading a man who represents a credible threat to her household. And certainly to Gina's. Yaba later expands on her alleged conversation with Jessie.
And I've told you all the story. When that motherfucker was still alive, I told him to take care of the situation. Then the screenshots are out there, and guess what? He did exactly what the fuck I told him to, because there ain't no place in this world for people like that.
30 minutes after this alleged exchange, Yaba goes live. To her credit, Yaba manages to find humor in an increasingly bleak situation.
Her name is Gay. I'm fucking dead. Babe, look at the screen. Look at the screen, babe. It's me too. I need a name tag that says Gay.
This is not to say that Yaba shouldn't find joy where she can. Her knack for compartmentalization is nonetheless remarkable. She and Samantha even find time that day to promote their new merchandise. They do not, however, find time to file for an order of protection. On Wednesday, September 27th, a forensic interview is conducted with Jessie's victim, which substantiates multiple instances of abuse. That day, Yaba hosts a since-removed live stream titled The Grift Goes On. At some point, Yaba files for and receives an order of protection against Jessie. I don't know why Samantha will continue, in the days following the release of the social worker's report, to claim Yaba filed for a protection order on Monday, rather than Wednesday. During a stream from nearly a year later, she even posts the paperwork, which affirms that the order was requested on Wednesday, September 27, 2023.
First of all, what's the county? County of Floyd, petitioner, Corey L. Ruth versus Jessie F. Harris, respondent. There is the case number. It's the same fucking case number. Tell me again how we did not file a fucking EPO.
One wonders if the two didn't realize how dangerous the situation was becoming, particularly after Yaba told Jessie to, quote, take care of the situation. Around 3 a.m. on the morning of Thursday, September 28th, the situation reaches its conclusion. Officers on the scene later discussed the circumstances.
So what was the original call? Why were you guys acting?
For a suspicious call for her ex yelling in the backyard.
Later that day, a representative describes Jessie's behavior during the encounter with the officers first on the scene.
It's just, again, it was very strange behavior, almost as if he couldn't control himself from the video that I've watched, making noises and sounds that just weren't coherent.
After being handcuffed for his own protection, Jessie collapses and is pronounced dead shortly after his arrival at the hospital. Friday, September 29th, Yaba announces she is taking a break from YouTube due to Jessie's death. Gina amends her Facebook status to widowed and posts a message to Jessie, thanking him, quote, for everything he did for the kids. Yaba gives it a heart reaction sticker. This quote shows up on Gina's Facebook timeline a month later, along with a second message to Jessie. Following the publication of the social worker's report, these sorts of responses will be questioned, though it's Jessie's obituary that will prove perhaps the most controversial. On October 12th, nearly 2 weeks after his death in police custody, Jessie's obituary is uploaded to Legacy. Samantha has offered conflicting narratives about the obituary's authorship. In a live stream from late July 2024, the first stream in which Yaba and Samantha discuss the social worker's report, Samantha makes the following claim.
We didn't write the obituary. We didn't publish the obituary.
2 days after that stream, Samantha concedes she wrote a draft of the obituary, though she did not write the final one. During a stream the day after that, Samantha again tweaks her level of involvement.
So yes, I wrote the majority of the obituary.
Samantha goes on to say that the goal was to produce something the children could print, frame, and hang on their walls. The only consistent points are that Yaba did not contribute to the document, nor possibly even read it, and that neither Yaba nor Samantha were responsible for publishing it. So let's talk about Jessie's obituary, which contrasts sharply, at times grotesquely, with the reality of Jessie's life and death. The introductory paragraph reframes Jessie's death as trauma-free, occurring while Jessie is, quote, enjoying the fresh air of the early morning hours. Compare this to Samantha's statement the following summer about Jessie's death.
You said that he got what he deserved, and we know for a fact he suffered. Like, there's no disputing that. It was not an easy way to go out.
No.
It would, of course, be inappropriate to present Jessie's death as it was. It seems likewise inappropriate, however, to veer into fantasy. For instance, yes, Jessie had lived in Gina's house. Then she expelled him shortly before his death. We note there is no mention of Jessie's family, such as his father, his mother, or his brothers. Samantha has discussed the exclusion of Jessie's family. His mother, at least.
One, it wasn't for them. It wasn't for her. And two, after the shit that she pulled, no, that woman doesn't exist to this family.
Samantha is referring here to Yaba's fight with Jessie's mother over his body and the mother's prevailing as next of kin, since neither Yaba nor her children nor Gina had a legally recognized connection to Jessie. Samantha doesn't explain why Jessie's brothers were excluded, unless that's what she means when she says, quote, the obituary wasn't for them. Regardless, the obituary gives the strong impression of having been crafted by people who know virtually nothing of Jessie's life prior to his meeting Yaba. While it is true that Jessie served in the military, this statement will come back to haunt Samantha. In late February 2024, around 5 months before the social worker's report is uncovered, Samantha replies to people discussing Jessie's history of addiction. In this now infamous tweet, Samantha describes Jessie as a, quote, military veteran and orders people to show him respect. To call Jessie a military veteran is, at best, a stretching of the facts to their utmost limit. Jessie reported for 8 weeks of basic training in March 1999. According to Yaba, this did not follow from patriotic fervor.
When he got himself in so much trouble and the judge gave him an option, you can go to prison or you can go to the army. And he chose to go to the army to avoid doing time in jail.
I cannot speak to how long Jessie served in the army or the circumstances of his leaving. I note, however, that he is arrested in September 2000 for possession of marijuana. And as we saw earlier, in December 2000, he is arrested for violating felony probation. Once Jessie's crimes came to light, Samantha faced scrutiny for having demanded respect for him. She acknowledges the tweet initially.
Oh, well, Sam tweeted about putting some respect on his name. That's right, Sam did. Not Yaba. Sam did.
She even expresses a measure of regret for it. By summer 2025, however, she has made statements denying having made the tweet, or at least suggesting its intent was misrepresented by her and Yaba's enemies.
You mean like the way you guys keep warping and changing my words, saying that I said put respect on a pedophile's name? That's not what I said.
Perhaps the most controversial part of the obituary is the inclusion of Gina's children, along with Jessie's nickname for the victim. Yaba and Samantha have denied responsibility for this.
And you're going to compare it because that little girl's name was in the obituary? What does that have how is that anybody's business?
Y'all shouldn't even...
That was her mother's choice.
As shown, the obituary is an idealized portrait constructed when a neutral document would have been appropriate, such as a more traditional obituary. Let's turn now to certain facts concerning the social worker's report, which motivated much of the criticism. On June 11, 2024, roughly 9 months after Jessie's death, Gina's ex-partner Nicholas violates her protection order against him. He is charged with violating a protection order related to the issuing of a bond, violating a protection order related to domestic violence, and violating a protection order after having done the same in an unrelated case. Yaba and Samantha claim these charges follow from Nicholas posting to Facebook the social worker's report about his and Gina's child. And indeed, at this time, Nicholas uploads shots of the report to 2 posts on Jessie's Facebook page, 6 weeks before this screenshot, which was taken on July 27th. On Friday, July 26, 2024, 3 new no-contact orders are issued against Nicholas for violating the previous order. The following day, Saturday, July 27th, screenshots of the report are uploaded to gossip site Kiwi Farms. Given the timing, there has been suspicion of behind-the-scenes involvement between Nicholas and other parties, with Yaba and Samantha claiming proof of subsequent contact.
And we do believe that they've made contact with that man. We believe that 1,000,000%.
No, we know for a fact. That's a matter of court record.
That weekend, heavily redacted images of the report are shared by longtime Yaba and Samantha nemesis Ron Negs Corbin. They are likewise shared by rival reactor Original Owl, who is later accused of having found the Facebook posts. They are even shown by Yaba's allies while critiquing Ron for having shared the report. The report remains on Facebook for an additional 4 days, until reactor Hillbilly Belinda intervenes.
I actually went over there and reported it on Facebook. I reported those posts. Yes, I did, because it's the right thing to fucking do.
Given that Nicholas was allegedly arrested for sharing the report on Facebook, for which he took a plea deal in January 2025, why didn't the state of Indiana request Facebook remove the posts? It's simple. No one knew about the replies on Jessie's Facebook. Nicholas had likely been posting the reports on Gina's Facebook page, which would be a violation of the no-contact order. Yaba seems to suggest as much.
The people who brought that to the internet, the people who went and dug that up and was going through Gina's Facebook page, who found that information and brought it to the internet, the very people who exposed that.
Samantha has repeatedly claimed that discovering the reports resulted from particularly thorough sifting.
So, yeah, the biological father of that little girl did post that on, it was on a Facebook post from I shit you not, 2013 or something. This is how far and deep they were digging into everybody's Facebook.
This is a lie, repeated most recently during a July 23rd appearance on Hecate's daughter's channel. The oldest post on Jessie's Facebook is from September 2020. Nor was Jessie a frequent uploader, nor did he receive many replies, making Nicholas's posts glaringly obvious. And if Nicholas's goal was to harass Gina, or as has been suggested, to expose Jessie, why would he make the report difficult to find? The simplest answer is that Nicholas made no effort to hide his actions. They simply went unnoticed, initially. This video does not pretend to be an exhaustive description of the events surrounding Jessie's death, the obituary, and the exposure of the social worker's report. Nor is its purpose purely to castigate the choices made by Yaba, Samantha, and Gina. These 3 women faced a horrifying situation. I sympathize with them on that part. My concern, however, follows from what seems an emphasis on public perception and judgment, which had the unfortunate consequence of their seeming deliberately deceptive, at least to some observers. Worse, giving the impression that rather than prioritizing the victims, of which Yaba and Samantha have repeatedly claimed there being more than one, they have been obscuring the predator.